Welcome, everyone. This is Arch Gabe, and this is a redo of Keeping It Real, Episode 4. I, after listening to the recording from from Episode 4, I didn't like the way I kind of broke, the way I broke it down. I have to admit, I was rushing while I was recording. So that's a learn a valuable lesson to not do that. I wanted to, I wanted to redo this. I wanted to be precise, a little bit more organized, and also I just don't want to, if anybody's listening, I don't want you to get lost while I'm trying to piece things together. So I'm gonna do my best to keep this, this version short as possible. And so I'm gonna be discussing about uh, vegans versus meat eaters, okay, and how the 14th Amendment political system changed society way of eating. Now, before I talk about vegans and meat eaters, okay, these these interesting labels that we call ourselves just based on what we eat, I wanted to discuss about how the system, you know, just change our way of eating. Okay, just this topic alone. But I'm gonna bring up some points here. Okay. Okay. So and then after that, I'll talk about the folks that eat plant based and folks that eat meat. Okay. Now, prior to the 14th Amendment, okay, people, okay, that are free man and freeholders, okay, they were self sufficient. Okay, they raise their own livestock. Okay, they grow fruits and vegetables and bartering. Okay, uh, doing some research and talking to some people. Um, a lot of back in those days, a lot of people have water wells. Uh, I don't know how many, but a lot of people was able to take care of their basic needs mostly on their own. But if not, they barter. I can't say that everybody had their own water well system. So if they didn't, obviously they bartered, for water. Okay. But for the most part, people were self sufficient in those days. Okay. Uh, they didn't pay property taxes, so they people again they maintain their own lifestyle. A lot different, a lot different compared to today. So that was how people lived prior to the 14th Amendment. Now we have an illegitimate system that was inserted by force through the never ratified 14th Amendment. Okay, with the help of the Reconstruction Act of 1867. Okay. Now, the freeholders were turned into U.S. citizens, subject to Washington. Okay. Through time, slowly, the new system took people's property rights away when the bankers and feds basically took control of properties. Okay. Now, to go further, okay, the 14th Amendment allowed corporations to take our land. Okay, this wasn't done overnight. This took decades, a little bit. Things started happening slowly after 1868. Okay, so the corporation basically took our land here and there, all that, because again, I just need to emphasize that people rights, property rights were slowly, taken. Okay, by again the bankers and the feds. Okay, so now since the corporations took our land, that's when it became quote unquote corporate America. Okay. Then corporate communist workforce started in the 1930s. Okay. that everyone have to work for the corporate elites. Okay, people have to work for a living to pay off their property taxes and mortgages. Okay, all right. So in the 1950s, okay, supermarkets boom since people are work slaves and don't have time to grow their own food. Okay, yes, there was still farms, but again, society really changed drastically decades. Okay, after this new system was created through the never ratified 14th Amendment, and also farms. Okay, farmers uh, prior to the 14th Amendment. Now they weren't subject to the feds. Okay, they grow their own food. Okay, there was no state government looking over their shoulder. Hey, you gotta do this, you gotta grow that. There was no federal telling them the same thing. Hey, all the farmers, you gotta do this, you gotta grow that, you gotta grow this. No, farmers basically work independently, locally. Okay, so with the 14th Amendment, farmers are again, along with the rest of the masses, farmers was subject to Washington. So when farmers through time wasn't able to take care of their property again, again there was, remember, I just want to throw this again, uh, people are not true landowners. Okay, they just couldn't keep up paying the expenses and everything. So unfortunately, a lot of people were duped to accept the federal benefits, and then the farms, all the independent farmers, became these big corporate farms, and they had to grow their seeds because of corporations created these seeds. I won't mention companies' names here, okay? But farmers are forced to grow seeds that's owned by corporations, and they have to grow. A lot of it's GMO. This took a lot of power away from the farmers because the farmers, they took benefits from the federal. Uh, I don't know too much in detail, but I've heard a lot of stories by talking to some people that as far as the benefits is not paying too much property taxes. People think it's a great deal when the federal wants to give you a helping hand, but whenever a government wants to help you, there's no free lunch. There's always string attached, and unfortunately, a lot of people through time fell for that. So all the independent farmers became corporate farmers. Okay, and then you have meat plants. You have meat plants grow. Um, and then just fast forward it here. Okay, uh, then you have these meat plant companies inject these livestock with hormones and you would like steroids and other chemicals that we have no idea really. But I'm pretty sure people out there listening, uh, I'm pretty sure a lot more people out there know stuff more than me on this topic. But I just wanted to say that the because I watched some documentaries in the past about stuff that's being injected into cows and everything. It's unbelievable. But so we eat the stuff that's from these corporate farms and these meat plants. And again, the supermarkets came in the 1950s. Like I said, people are not able to grow their own food for the most part. And then in the 1960s, 1970s, fast food came out because people are overworked. Okay, this is thanks to the 14th Amendment system now. People overworked that they don't have time to cook the food from the supermarket. So fast food came in around the 1960s, 1970s. And then, through time, fast food, these companies, again, I'm sorry, I can't mention these names. Through the 70s and 80s and 90s, the food has become more toxic. The stuff, people started getting sick. And same thing with people eating meat now. Okay. So, because people, not everybody, people started getting sick eating these because we became accustomed eating processed food. Okay, all the stuff in the supermarket is generally processed food. Okay, so people through time got sick, especially eating a lot of stuff from the fast food. Okay, now because of that, it's strange. It's crazy. The more I go forward, I could just talk about other things that came into play with this. Kind of goes hand in hand. Big Pharma basically started profiting into this because people they eat these processed food, okay, and they got sick. Now I'm just speaking out about this generally on the processed food because see, prior to the system, like I said, people was growing their own food. I'm not saying that they weren't diseased. People didn't get disease and everything, but the health situation back in those days wasn't anything closely remote to like what we go through today. It's just it's not even close. So people grow their own food. Okay. All right. Just want you to just sit there and think about that. Okay. So when people started eating processed food and big pharma started coming in, people take, different drugs, you know, didn't get them, didn't get better. They got sick more. But the thing is that people was getting sick, they was trying to be a little bit more health conscious. Like, okay, I gotta find some other way because I can't eat too much of this. I can't eat too much of that meat or chicken or turkey. I can't eat too much of that. And then plant based started becoming popular. Okay, and do you see how everything came into play? It's this how the system that we empower basically change society way of eating. It is very important, and this system knows that. It is very important that people have property rights because they're able to do things or maintain their lives. There was no interference by government. There's no interference by corporations. Okay. Okay. Farmers grow what they want to grow. Obviously, the community, local community was very tight back then. All right. So anyway, so the whole thing with when people started getting sick and everything, this is when plant based started getting more popular. I say maybe I noticed in the late '90s, around sometime around that. Then it started getting started increasing more in the 2000s. But these criminals in office now this is the part I'm going to talk about the meat eaters versus vegans. Now, I was doing some digging about the whole vegan. What does this vegan mean? So I'm gonna just share this with you because see a lot. I don't know if a lot of people are aware of the origin of basically the term vegan. Okay, now the term vegan basically came around November 1944. Okay, now this is from a British woodworker named Donald Watson. Okay, now he announced that because vegetarians ate dairy and eggs, he was going to create a new term called vegan to describe people who did not. Okay, now look them up. Okay, so but vegan became a lot more popular when these imposters in office started pushing. Maybe I noticed around 5 years ago they were started pushing people to eat more plant based. It just becomes so political; it's just ridiculous. So, so because the government continue to stick their noses into people's business, so you have people that ate meat felt threatened by it. Okay, and people are divided what they eat. And I mean, it's amazing how the lives, just amazing how people are divided. Uh, I personally feel that it's none of anybody's business what they eat. Now, if people want to eat plant based, that's their prerogative. Okay. Okay, so vice versa, same thing for the people that eat meat. Now, there are some extreme groups out there as far as vegan. There are extreme groups out there that talks about how meat eaters, how they support these companies that treat animals unhumane. Okay, there are I've seen documentaries. I cannot mention names of the companies. You're gonna have to research on this now. Uh, they treat animals poorly. The places where they slaughter the animals or keep them, like chickens and cows, it's not clean. Uh, it's it was disturbing watching these documentaries. But the people, these vegan groups, they stand on that, and I can understand why. But my take on it is that you see people that are, and I'm gonna just there are extreme vegan groups out there. You could call it a cult, but um, they talk about how people eat meat, look down on them, but they eat plants. But plants have life, okay? And I spoke with somebody about that. You know, what about the plants? They have life. So I guess you eat plants. That's unhumane. But a lot of people that's vegan, maybe they'll get it, or maybe they won't. Who knows? Um, but you see, again, 5 years ago, I noticed that how the system inserted itself by creating these division within people. Okay, now far as these meat plants and how they slaughter the animal and how the place is not clean. Now, I know some people. I visit a friend of mine. Uh, I visit a friend of mine. Her and her husband. They have chickens, and I fed a chicken. But I look at how they take care of them. That now their chickens are healthy. They keep the place clean. It's they manage very well. It's not easy to take care of their property. They put a lot of work in. It's a lot of work involved. So there are pockets of people out there that have their own livestock. I knew somebody. Well, I used to know somebody else that they have their own pig. Uh, I think a couple of pigs they have, and they don't go. Obviously, they don't go to the supermarket. They raise their own pigs. They you know uh, they slaughter them, and they don't really have any health issues. Because I ask these questions, like, man, how's it, just general questions like, man, like you've been doing this for a long time, and some people have been doing it most of their life. So there are pockets of people out there that they don't rely on processed foods or these meat plant companies. Just pockets, which is cool. I really I think that's great that there's some people out there managed to able to have their own private livestock, and it's their business what they do. Now I'm going to throw this out there. Okay, I'm trying to wrap this clip up soon. Um, I don't talk about what I eat on social media because I feel like it's not anybody's business. But because I'm talking about it, I'll share it. You know, uh, I'm a uh, I'm a vegan and vegetarian, and I don't know if I could just be fully vegan, whatever. I still, I guess that's just me where I'm at. Now, my reason for being a vegan or vegetarian is not because of what animals go through in these corporate meat, what do you call it, these meat plants. It's not that. It's because of my health, actually. I'm doing my best to live a healthy lifestyle, just taking care of my health the best I can. But nothing to do with what animals go through, that it's nothing to do with that. This is my choice. I mean, I was influenced by far as eating mostly plant based, but ultimately it was my choice. It wasn't anything political, none of that. Okay. And, actually, I'm going to mention about my friend and her husband. When I visit them, we went out to eat, and I, and they were cool. They didn't, they know I eat plant based, and they didn't look down on me. I thought, I had a thought that they might look down on me, because this whole thing becomes so political, it's ridiculous. But gratefully, they didn't look down on me. They didn't care. That's cool. And we went, they took me to this restaurant that they served meat and plant based. So I asked for a plant based burger. Okay. And I ate it, and it was tasted pretty nasty. So I had a they didn't really have a lot of choices that I like in a menu. So I decided to eat meat. I just ate a burger that day, and that was it. I ate a burger. Nothing to it. Uh, I ate a couple of meats here and there. So I kind of mixed it up. I ate vegan in my visits with them. I ate vegan food and I ate meat stuff. So it's hey, I know it's just some people that's listening that's vegan out there will probably think that I'm crazy, but the fact is that I made a choice. I didn't want to eat meat, but I did. I said, I'll live. That was my attitude. To be honest with you, you know. Uh, Now, look, I know some people are very strongly convicted of, with convictions about, oh, you supported these meat plant companies that you just ate a burger. Okay, all right. But again, if we're going to take that route about how I'm supporting the animals being slaughtered in such an unhumane way, just think about the plants that you eat. Okay, all right. Uh, so, just think about that. So, anyway, so, folks, I just want to throw this out there. It's just because I had this conversation with my wife the other day, and I just wanted to bring this up because it's absolutely ridiculous how our lives. Well, one, people divided about this because again, back then, people didn't really care what you eat. You understand? They didn't really care. You know, it's always a political stunt going on. Whenever the system involves people's lives, it's always an agenda going on. But just this topic alone, far as food, this system controls people. You know, uh, again, that's why I had to really piece it together, as far as how the system, slowly took your property rights away. You know, we can't sit there and even think for a moment about, yeah, you able to maintain your own, you're able to grow your own food, you maintain your basic needs now. Okay. Far as clothing, I'm pretty sure people sold their own clothes back then, uh, or barter of clothing. Hey, but people were, they manage well. I mean, it's just a different time. But again, all this was happening to us and how our lives uh, change on this alone. It's because of our ignorance. Okay, because of our ignorance of the law, we allow the corporation to take our land, and that's why people are sick eating these foods. Now some of the plant-based food is not very healthy either. Okay, I was looking up this 3D meat. You guys, if anyone's listening out there, look up this 3D meat video clips. I wouldn't personally eat that stuff. I wouldn't. But I know, the plant. I eat certain brand names. I won't mention names of the brands, okay? Because I just don't want to be. I don't want my channel to be flagged. But I'm not saying it's the healthiest stuff. The vegan food I eat. I know it's not the healthiest, and I'm thinking about changing my diet. Um, maybe eating more steamed vegetables, rice, lentils, things like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking about changing my diet a little bit. But the thing is, folks, is that all of this stuff that I just shared in this clip so far, all of that is because we empower the system. We don't know. We just don't know the root cause of this. We don't, and that's why people decide to eat plant based because the processed food. And yes, the whole thing with animals being slaughtered in such unhumane way and such places that's filthy and that stuff. Yes, I understand that. I get it. Um, but in the fast food places, that's not the healthiest. So, I mean, do you see how this goes hand in hand? And I had to bring out Big Pharma there. They come in because they capitalize on people eating stuff that's not healthy. And again, is the steroids that's been injected in these cows, for example, and other chemical, other things we have no idea really. I mean, maybe some people that's listening out there maybe have obviously done their research and they know. But I'm just saying that I'm open minded that they will inject anything out there. I mean, if I were to go back, maybe look at some of these documentaries again, and I'm like, wow. But I just want to bring this to your attention, in this topic, you know, um, just visiting my friend or husband, it's a lot of work. Okay, it's impossible for people, society today, as long as you work in the communist workforce. A married couple, it's hard for a married couple, for example, to manage a property to raise livestock. It's impossible. It's not designed. You have to work. There's people work between jobs. You know, you got people that lost their homes, okay, move into the cities. Do you understand? Living in these apartments. So, I mean, we just not, for the most part, we're not taught to that raising your own livestock and growing your own food and doing it, that was just natural. It's kind of like it's just natural. We're used to going to the supermarkets. Again, the supermarkets there's an agenda. Like I said, supermarkets came because the system already established a communist workforce. Everybody have to work, so you have to pay. You got to pay your property taxes, mortgages. If you don't pay those things, the dictators will seize your home. So if you do your research, people prior to the 14th Amendment, people have an absolute right, far as or I could say absolute right or inherent right to own property. Okay. Um, we're not taught about that either. So the goal is that to take people out of their land, you know, turn them into tenants or caretakers. Okay, create, have the corporation take the land away. The bankers do their own thing, as far as taking more property out of the people's out of their hands, And that's it, and that's pretty much what shaped our lives, folks. I want to try. I need to emphasize this because I want anyone that's listening to really, in your mind, to connect what I shared so far. Okay, and I think I covered that. I just felt like I just needed to, especially I needed to redo this clip. So I apologize that the last version wasn't the best. I had some people listening told me, "Hey, they enjoyed it," but I just felt like I just need to redo it. I don't know. I felt like I could do a lot better. So I feel pretty good. I think I broke it down more precise with everybody. Um, I post some information about the term vegan from Donald Watson. All right, look him up. Also, in now regards to this topic, as far as how the system shaped our lives, and far as the bankers taking our property, uh, down below in the description, read these threads on commercial plantation. Okay, these threads and human resources and consumers and the bankers. Okay, those three threads right there. Okay, you're gonna definitely enjoy reading them. Uh, they have footnotes. Read, research. Uh, and once you read these threads, you would definitely have a much more of a better understanding of the stuff that I shared in this clip. Okay, uh, you know, every there's so many things that I could discuss how the system changed our lives. Okay, uh, I'm already thinking. I don't know when I have to like put together, but I'm already thinking about urban neighborhoods. You know, there's an agenda to create urban neighborhoods, for example. I might do a clip on that. I don't know. I'm thinking through it. But it's because when you educate yourself about this so-called government we have, you can't unlearn what you know. So the way my mind works, I go here and there, I piece together that, and and I say to myself, "Wow, that makes sense." Now I understand why things are the way they are. Oh, okay, this makes sense. Okay, now I know why the system controls people this way and why this happened. It's just the way my mind works. So and I'm gonna do more clips like this. Uh, you know, I I'll do my best to create more interesting topics to get people to think. You know, because I feel like there's so much distractions out there. We don't really think about the basic stuff, like why is this happening? Like for example, okay, just an example, why the government is so involved in what you eat. Why are they so involved for big pharma and everything? These agencies that's been, well, unlawfully created, that's part of the post reconstruction system. Okay. Uh, you know, I'm pretty sure a lot of people out there think about that, why the government is so invested in what you eat. And then you got people taking drugs and stuff like that. I mean, look, I know people are taking medication, whatever. That's you got to do what you got to do. I don't know what to say. It's just all I'm just want to pinpoint is that why things are the way they are, folks. Okay, um, and we have the power to change it. But a lot of us don't see that or know how. Anyway, I hope this clip really inspire you, to understand why the situation, why this meat eaters versus uh, plant plant-based eaters, the division of people that the system uh, drives on is division, is to push people to vote. I don't want to go too far. I think I expressed so much in this clip. I try to keep it short, but man, it's discussing these things. You could talk for at least over an hour on so many topics under this system, just based on this government alone. Seriously. Um, all right, folks. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this clip, hit like and subscribe. Okay, just try to get this channel out there. It's all about the algorithms in YouTube, and I will do an episode 5. I don't know what I'm going to be discussing that one, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I might, like I said, I might do the next one about urban neighborhoods and stuff. I'm thinking about it because there's a couple of other clips that I want to do. I'm trying to figure out. Well, anyway, whatever I put together, I'm pretty sure everybody that's listening will enjoy it. All right, folks. Until then, I'll talk to you next time. Bye.